Hello and welcome back to the stream, everyone. Today's going to be an interesting day because we're going to go over all the perk and gameplay changes that are coming to Dead by Daylight in the near future. The devs have just released a very hefty list of all the changes we can expect in the next update, I believe. First has to go through the PTB, all that jazz. But this is what's coming to the game, and I'll tell you right now, it's big. And it's not looking that good. Spoiler alert. We're going to go over it together so I can give you my opinions, first impressions and thoughts before this is actual reality in the game. Most of the stuff I've been reading is actually quite depressing. Being a killer main, I disagree with most of the changes. Not all of them, but some of them are annoying. I'm going to cut right to the chase, okay? I'm not going to go over the prestige system because you guys already know about it. All the boring stuff about the prestige, we can cut that, okay? I'm going to jump straight to generator speed. So what they're doing, in a nutshell, is they're adding 10 seconds to gens. So instead of taking 80 seconds, now they're going to take 90 seconds. That sounds like not a big deal because it isn't a big deal. Like here they say, with these changes we hope to reduce the reliance of passive slowdown mechanics and promote increased interaction between killers and survivors. 10 seconds? You think 10 seconds is going to cut it? I disagree. I don't think... You know, they did say many times before that they wouldn't change gen speed, but now they actually did, so they backtracked. 90 seconds, 80 seconds, kind of the same thing. Not really a deal breaker at all, in my opinion. Sure, you may catch someone right before they finish and slightly more often, but it's not really going to be a big change at all. Also, there's one important thing to mention. Now, as a killer, if you kick a gen, you immediately gain 2.5% regression on said gen, which is... okay, sure, it's not a lot, but it's something. At least it's something. Also, you can kick them a bit quicker. They shaved off 0.2 seconds from the kick animation. Many players feel like generators are powered too quickly without these perks. So we knew we needed to look at generators before making any perk changes. But 10 seconds, bro. It's 10 seconds. It's 10 seconds per gen. No big deal, honestly. No big deal. Yeah, you also break pallets and gens faster by 10%. The quicker pallet break is quite nice. I think it's needed because 99% of cases, a good player is always going to get to the next loop. So you breaking a pallet quicker does kind of mitigate that slightly. Not by a lot, but by a little bit probably. It's like having half a brutal strength base kit. Not too bad. I haven't read that they're nerfing brutal anyway. So essentially, if you run brutal now, you should get a 30% quicker pallet breaking. It may make a bit of a difference, but in the greater scheme of things, people will get used to it, and I don't know how much it can impact the game. Maybe a little bit, but not by a lot. This is stuff that is going to impact less skilled players a lot more than skilled players. Skilled players will just mitigate around it. They'll just play a bit more safe, I guess. Wraith will be able to vaporize pallets with his add-ons. I guess. Also, another thing to mention is they have slightly decreased the cooldown when you get a successful hit as killer. So essentially what that boils down to is that you're going to have 2 stacks of Save the Best as base kit, because you'll recover slightly quicker every hit. Not by a lot, but it's a slight change. So you can imagine, for example, if you're running Save the Best, you can practically get 10 stacks of Save the Best, which sounds good. It sounds good if you can actually pull it off. So those are some subtle changes to the gameplay. Quicker pallet breaking, quicker gen breaking, slightly quicker recovery when you hit someone with the weapon. You know, they kind of add up. It's going to make killer feel a bit better. Like you lose less when you get hits. You lose a bit less distance when you break a pallet. You lose a bit less time when you kick a gen. You get a little bit more. You get that 2.5%. So these are changes which are not big, but hopefully they add up to something which is a bit, you know, of an improvement over what we have. So that's all well and dandy, but the problem, like, this is okay, this is not an issue. The problem is what comes next, okay? That's the problem, like with the perk changes and shit. I'm gonna get to it in a second. So, also they're adjusting Bloodlust a little bit, so you'll gain Bloodlust 2 a bit quicker. Bloodlust 1 is the same. It takes 15 seconds of chase to reach Bloodlust 1, but then Bloodlust 2, you gain it 5 seconds earlier, 25 seconds down from 30. And Bloodlust 3 is down 35 from 45, so that's a 10 seconds difference on Bloodlust 3, which, yeah, survivors are not going to like this, but it's probably needed. It's probably kind of needed, sadly. I'm not a big fan of Bloodlust, but I understand that it's necessary. If you have someone who understands how to connect loops, you kind of have to rely on Bloodlust if you're playing a weak killer, like Pig or, I don't know, Legion, or I don't know. Any Mouse 1 killer basically needs the Bloodlust against a good team. There's no defense for this. Like, it's just the sad reality of the game. So I would love to be able to say, oh, Bloodlust is horrible and it needs to go, but I can't. I can't say that truthfully and sincerely because I know it's needed. Camping and tunneling. Camping and tunneling. Yeah, the devs are not a big fan of camping and tunneling, although the game seems to be designed around doing just that because it's basically the only way you can win some games. But the devs don't like it, so they're changing a few things. Borrowed time is going to be base kit. Okay. You probably already know this, but in case you haven't read yet, borrowed time is becoming base kit. So every time someone gets unhooked, that person will be will have the endurance status effect, essentially borrowed time, for 5 seconds. Plus a 7% haste. So they'll move faster and be able to tank a hit as well. That's with no perks, by the way. That's just base kit. So every single save that happens, you can't go for the guy. You have to wait 5 seconds. They're going to move faster, and they don't even need a perk to do it. Now they can run just, you know, anything else. Which is an extreme pain in the ass, because in a game where tunneling and camping is necessary to win, and if you don't do it, it makes the match impossible, effectively, this could break the game completely. Alright. I want Noid base kit. Can't have the Noid base kit. But borrowed time is fine, yeah. The guaranteed escape. It's like we live in a world now where survivors are entitled to escape from a bad situation. Like, you hook someone, but I have the right to escape. I have the right to another chance, even though, you know, you're playing well. Doesn't matter because I got 5 seconds of invincibility and a 7% speed buff as well. Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's very fair. No perks, just base kit. So yeah, very interesting. Meta perk changes. Okay, let's take a look at the perks. Barbecue and chili works exactly the same way, only it doesn't give you extra points anymore because of the grind rework system. So you don't need the extra points. The devs say, we made the grind less of a big deal. It's going to take you a lot less to get your perks. Therefore, you don't want to run a perk just for blood points, which it's fair enough. It's fair enough. Whatever. I mean, personally, I ran barbecue for the effect and not for the blood points, so I don't really care that much. Ruin, as I predicted, I said this yesterday. It's funny because I said this yesterday. I predicted the Ruin change. It's no longer 200% regression. Now it's 100%. So they cut it in half. This has been cut in half, as I predicted yesterday. You guys were there. You know the regression is now pretty low. Probably not worth it, considering they can cleanse the totem quickly. I don't know, man. This is kind of bullshit. Yeah, they nerfed Ruin by 100%. Now it's half as good as before. It's like you have Ruin tier 1 now the whole time. Well, rip. And if a survivor dies, this is hilarious. If one... Isn't it enough to be a hex perk? No, that's not enough apparently. So not only it's a hex perk, but furthermore, wait for it, if a survivor dies, Ruin deactivates. Because those poor 3 survivors, oh, they can't cleanse a fucking totem. That's just so... It's not like there's perks to find totems. It's not like there's maps that allow you to find totems easily. No, that's not a thing. Let's just make Ruin deactivate because one guy died. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, Ruin is dead. Ruin is dead not only because it's less effective, but also because it gets deactivated first kill. That's absolute bullshit. Plus, it's a hex. Yeah, it's trash. Complete trash. Pop goes the weasel. It now gives you 20% regression based off the current progress the gen has. Yeah, you heard me correctly. It's no longer a global 25%. It's 20% on the current gen progress that the gen has at the time you kick it. So basically, it's only worth it if the gen's actually nearly finished. Then it gives you a lot more. If you kick the gen when it has like 10% progress, it barely gives you anything. So it's kind of, yeah. They nerfed Pop as well. Corrupt intervention, my god. This perk makes the beginning of the match more manageable, forcing survivors to extend deeper into the map before repairing a generator. We aren't looking to change this aspect. Moving forward, the perk will deactivate once the survivor enters the dying state. You down someone, Corrupt is gone. You can kiss your Corrupt goodbye, because you downed someone. We believe this change will keep Corrupt intervention effective in helping the killer build early game pressure. So let me get this straight. It's still 2 minutes, I think. Yeah, it's still 2 minutes, but if you down someone, it's gone. It's just gone. So yeah, interesting. I mean, I think it will still, to be fair, I think it's still a good choice on Hag and Trapper because they have to set up. So most likely when you get someone down, it will already be up, the Corrupt, in you know, against a good team. So I probably would still run this on Trapper and Hag. Not sure about the rest though at this point. Maybe, I mean, but for Trapper and Hag, I think I would still run it. Tinkerer, they made it just more boring. I mean, I've never been a huge fan of Tinkerer. I don't believe that old Tinkerer was oppressive or strong because it gets called out by teams. If you're against the Swift, they're going to call out Tinkerer very early, so you won't even get much use of it. But now they made it even worse. They went a step further, and now Tinkerer only activates once per gen. Only once per gen, that's it. If you get regression and they go back to the 75% threshold, you won't get Tinkerer again on the same gen. Kind of bullshit. Not that big of a deal, but then again, I've never been a big fan of Tinkerer, so I don't really care. I don't think it was necessary, though, so I disagree with this as well. Now, let's get to Noed. Noed is the most cringy fucking nerf I have ever seen. Like, honest to God, the nerf they're doing to Noed is absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I'll tell you why. For me, Noed should be base kit, because what Noed does... Imagine Noed was base kit. Everyone would know that Noed was a thing, and they would be forced to use maps, use perks, Detective's Hunch, Counter Force, all this stuff, you know, small game, to dedicate time and resources to cleansing totems, thus making the game longer, you know, dragging it out a bit more, giving the killer a bit more time to actually play, you know, get hooks and stuff. But no, instead they're nerfing it. Something that should be base kit, in my opinion, is actually getting nerfed now. So it's just unbelievably dumb. And the way they're doing it is dumb as shit, as you can see. So now, like I can't even say it, it's so dumb. Like I sound like an idiot just reading what I'm seeing on my screen. This... Oh my god, dude. So they will essentially be able to see the totem. The totem will have an aura. 24 meter aura. Within 30 seconds. It will grow from 4 meters to 24 meters over the span of 30 seconds, half a minute. Okay. Now here's the thing. Any competent team I've played against, they always cleanse it. They mostly always cleanse it. So this just makes it easier for bad teams to find Noed. Essentially what you're going to want to do now is to hook someone as close to Noed as possible so they can't cleanse it. That's the only strategy I can think of. You catch someone, you scat your totem, you're like, okay, I need to hook you as close to that thing as possible so they can't cleanse it. Because if you don't hook the last guy within range of the Noed, they're gonna break it and they will get the save. So yeah, Noed nerfed. And the reason why it's dumb is because this should be base kit for the reasons I just described. But furthermore, why do you need to see the aura if maps are a thing? Aren't maps already in the game? Rainbow maps, green maps with add-ons, perks, small game, all of this shit. Does that not mean anything? Wouldn't it be better to incentivize the use of these different perks than just to give the totem aura away for free for everyone to see? Is it that much of a big deal? Why make maps even less valuable? Why make said perks less valuable? The perks that you need to track totems. No. Here's Noed. Come cleanse it for free. You don't need a map. You don't need a perk. You don't need anything. You don't need map knowledge, good intuition to know. No. You just see it. It's right there. It's right there. It's literally right there. So that's just dumb as shit. That is absolutely dumb as shit. You see, what I would have done, okay? What I would have done for a nerf would be, okay, so why is Noed annoying? Let's go over why Noed is annoying. I think Noed is annoying when a killer just hooks someone, like with Bubba, face camps, doesn't do anything, and then gets one more guy with a mouse one Noed hit, and then just camps the shit out of that guy as well. That's cheap as shit. Or maybe a trapper down someone, puts them in the basement, camps, doesn't move, and then gets one other guy with Noed at the end. So to kind of mitigate this kind of strategy, what they could have done is to put in a requirement where you need to get at least, say, 6 hooks at least to be able to get the Noed to work at the end, to be able to activate it. So it would have like a requirement. Hook 6 people, and then the Noed will spawn. If you don't hook 6 people, you won't get your Noed at the end. It's kind of like a trade, you see. So you have to actually play the game. You can't just rely on Noed and not do anything, you see. So I think that would have been a better idea. Make it so killers have to actually hook people, and if they hook enough, then they get rewarded. But yeah, I guess that would be a bit too fair, you could say. Anyway, yeah, that's shitty. That's shitty. Pain res, they're keeping the regression the same. It's still going to be 15%. The difference is it's not going to give you any information because the survivors will no longer scream. Now, why is this dumb? Why is this dumb? I'm going to explain to you why, according to me, this is dumb. The scream should still be in, because if a survivor is dumb enough not to detach from a gen when you're hooking, it's their problem. If you're afraid someone has pain res, detach from the gen, let the pain res kick in, and then continue repairing. You only need a 1 second pause. Is that too difficult? They could have removed the default explosion if a survivor is not working on the gen, thus creating a situation where the survivor can counter the information. But if a survivor ignores the fact you're hooking someone and continues to repair, then they should be punished because they didn't make that decision to detach in time. That would have been a lot fairer, you see. Because, you know, it would take a bit more awareness from people repairing gens. But no, they just completely removed both the explosion and the scream. Completely. So you'll never get any information from this perk. And I think it's a bit unfair. Plus, it's a scourge, so the killer won't always get them. It's situational as shit. And that's another reason for this perk not being that OP, in my opinion. Because you won't always get scourge hooks as well. You can have some games where you're playing on maybe Swamp or RPD, where the hooks are all on the sidelines. The scourge hooks are just too far away, and you'll literally never get to use this perk. So it's quite sad. It's quite sad that they just completely removed the tracking, completely. Now here's where things get scary, okay? Because now we've got to the survivor meta perks. We talked a bit about killer perks, but now comes, you know, the real spice of this update. Dead Hard. My god, the change to Dead Hard, in my opinion, is scary as fuck. It is actually scary. Because, let me just read this real quick. Dead Hard is by far the most used perk by survivors. It's easy to see why. In the right hands, it acts like a third health state, allowing a survivor to escape a situation where they would otherwise go down. Tell me something I don't know. There are two main ways Dead Hard is used: to dodge a hit and for distance, to get to a nearby pallet or window. In the latter case, there's not much a killer can do. Therefore, Dead Hard will now provide the endurance effect for 1 second when activated. If you time it right, you'll prevent the hit and gain a movement speed boost. So, this will remove the dead harding for distance and make it solely used to dodge hits, which killers can anticipate and even bait accordingly. I disagree. I disagree with the last statement, because here's what's going to happen in reality, okay? Every time some motherfucker gets to a fucking window or a fucking pallet, if they believe they don't have enough distance, they're going to press E and then vault, and you will not be able to hit them. And they will tank your hit. So, oh, the killer's close. I'm going to press E, then vault. If the killer hits me while I'm vaulting, I'm going to tank the hit. And there's nothing they can do. So, that's what's going to happen. They're going to get to a pallet, vault it, press E before. If you swing, you hit them, doesn't matter. They can still tank the hit. If you're Huntress, you're going to throw a hatchet. As soon as you throw, they press E. Even if your aim is on, doesn't matter. They tank the hit. If you're playing Nurse, same thing. You blink on them. Again, 1 second is a long time. They can tank the hit. So how... Can someone explain to me how this is weaker than All Dead Hard? If All Dead Hard is 0.5 seconds and this is 1 second. So it's twice as long, essentially. Sure, you don't get the distance. But still, it's 1 second of invincibility. And that's not something that you can necessarily just bait out all the time. Because guess what? As I just mentioned, they're going to use this at pallets and at windows. Oh, killer's too close. Press E. Tank the hit. Oh, killer's too close to this pallet. Killer's Bloodlust 1. I don't make the vault. Press E and then vault. Tank the hit. Bye-bye. And I'm gone because I get a sprint burst. A mini sprint burst. How is this weaker than All Dead Hard? I'm not saying it's basically the same. Possibly in some cases worse. Like, this is not a nerf. This is a rework, but it's not a nerf. Don't you think this is a nerf because it's not a nerf? So them coming out and saying, oh, these perks are overused, we need to check. They just changed it, but it's still fucking strong. It is still fucking strong. They don't even have to throw the pallet now. Yeah, kind of. Because every time they go through a pallet, they're going to press E. Because they're going to expect you to swing. And you probably have to. Because if you don't, they can drop it and stun you anyway. So they get a styptic every 40 seconds. I don't think many people realize how many situations can occur where this perk, as it is now, proposed, is could be stronger than all Dead Hard. Because you get the boost. When you get hit, you get the speed boost as well. Like, I don't know, bro. You can grab them when they're vaulting a pallet. When they're vaulting one, sure. But that won't always happen, and you have to be very close. You have to be really, really close. Yeah, this is really terrible. This is really bad. This is really, really bad. The only thing I can think of is Deathslinger. Deathslinger may be able to counter the new Dead Hard because his harpoon, by the time you drag someone to you, the second's going to be up. So you can basically shoot someone, and by the time you drag them to you, they'll be dead before they can make any use of the perk. So I guess Deathslinger new meta. That's one thought that came to mind. Okay, moving on. But that's awful in my opinion. That's an awful change. I think the worst thing about it is the full second. I think it should have been like half a second. In my opinion, it should have been half a second. But 1 second, 1 full second of endurance seems a bit much. Decisive Strike. Decisive Strike nerfed they nerfed the stun time from 5 seconds to 3 seconds, which is an objective nerf. Also, when all gens are powered, no one can use Decisive anymore. Decisive is dead after the 5th gen is finished, which is kind of nice because people will no longer be able to unhook themselves with Deliverance and run to the exit gate and be completely safe. No more Decisive Strikes at the exit gate, which is, yeah, which doesn't have any counter, by the way. So it's good that this is getting nerfed, but they'll still be able to use it mid-game, no problem. So it's not that big of a deal. But it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. Borrowed Time. Okay, so what Borrowed Time does, it doubles down the effect of the base kit Borrowed Time. So instead of 5 seconds of endurance and speed boost, you get 10 seconds of endurance and speed boost. So it doubles the effect of the protection you get, which is insane. I still think this is going to be used with Swifts. I still believe this will be a thing. 15? Ah, 15. So it actually adds the 10 on the... Are you... No, wait. It can't be right. That can't be right. Yeah, it does. It does. 15 seconds? Wow. Dude. Tunneling is dead, I think. Tunneling is completely dead. 15 seconds of borrowed. Like, this is totally gonna... You see what they did here? You see what they did here? They nerfed killer stuff and then pretended... These guys fucking pretended to nerf the best survivor perks, but they didn't really do anything of the kind. They slightly nerfed the S, which by the way doesn't matter. 3 seconds, 5 seconds, doesn't really matter. They barely nerfed anything. They buffed stuff in some cases. This is buffed. This is way buffed. Just Dead Hard as well. I think, honestly, I think Dead Hard could be a buff even at this point. This could literally be a buff. You know, maybe not. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm reading a bit too much between the lines. But this sounds and looks more than like a buff than a nerf, if I'm being honest. But then again, maybe I'm being a bit too hasty. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe this is worse. But I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. This looks stronger. 1 second endurance again. Very unfair. This though is like really insane. 15 seconds. So you unhook someone. 15 seconds. They're quicker. 7% faster. But yeah, whatever. It's stronger. Iron Will got nerfed, whatever, 75% maximum effect. So I guess Spirit is stronger now, because you'll always be able to hear them a bit. Self-Care has been nerfed, down to 35% speed instead of 50%. So it's going to take a lot longer to scratch that itch, if you get what I mean. Spine Chill has been killed completely. Now Spine Chill is useless, because... if there's an obstacle between you and the killer, it will not proc, it will not work. It will only work if the killer has direct vision on you. So, in other words, it's trash now. Plus, they got rid of the Volt Speed, the 6% action speed buff. So yeah, this is garbage now. Spine Chill is dead. Trash, absolute garble. So those are the main ones. There are some other buffs to some other perks, which are kind of okay, but... let's be honest now. This is the important thing. The important thing for this update is Borrowed Time base kit, Borrowed Time perk buff, Dead Hard potential buff, I don't know, and slowdown nerf considerably and Noed nerf. It's not looking good, is it? Yeah, plus Botany got buffed. So if they run Self-Care Botany and Boon, this literally doesn't matter. Like this legit just does not matter. Completely irrelevant. So this is a buff. This is a buff, in my opinion. This is a slight nerf that's not going to change much anyway. Besides the end game cheese at the exit gate, which, who cares? This is a bit better. This is slightly better. This is slightly better. Whatever. I like that they removed the cooldown from Jolt. Jolt has no cooldown anymore, but it's 8%. Who cares? 8% on the gen is nothing, so yeah, whatever. Youthful Pursuer gives you 2 seconds aura reading on every perk you have, which is kind of nice, but again, I mean, I wonder if it synergizes with add-ons as well. I think it does, though. So, for example, if you're running Clown with Cigar Box, this gives you more, I guess. But yeah, it's kind of cool, but again, very, very situational. You don't really need it, you. They buffed Gift of Pain a little bit. Monstrous Shrine is quite interesting. Now, what Monstrous Shrine's going to do is going to make every basement hook a Scourge hook. And it makes the entity kill them faster, basically. But you can't camp. Only if you don't camp. You need to be 24 meters away from the hooks. Otherwise, you don't get the 20% faster entity progression. Can't be a naughty boy. If you're a naughty boy, you don't get the value. But it's okay. I mean, it does give you some extra Scourges, so... It's a lot better than before. This is shit. Why would I want to... This is funny, this one. Calm Spirit. You can open chests and cleanse totems silently, but you do it slower. Who the hell would want to do it silent but 30% slower? That's a negative. That's not even... That's like a debuff. Who cares if it's noisy? You're only supposed to break totems when the killer isn't in front of you. So, how is this good? This is just bad. It's just dumb, dude. It's just dumb as shit. Off the record is crazy as well. Every time you get saved, you gain the... This is funny. The endurance status effect for 80 seconds. 80 seconds you can tank a hit for free. Of course, if you repair a gen, cleanse a totem, heal, or do any other constructive action, this does get taken away, but you can body block for 80 seconds after you get saved with this. So this is essentially a free borrowed time body block. Yeah, essentially a free tank. Dumb as shit. Lucky Break can be recharged by healing people, which is quite nice. Soul Survivor makes you open hatch a bit quicker, and exit gates and gens, whatever, no one's going to use this. Distortion, you'll be able to recover tokens if you stay in the killer's terror radius for 30 seconds, quite nice. They buffed Lightweight slightly. I mean, no one's going to use this seriously, but okay. Anything else worth mentioning? Hope has no time limit at the end. Overzealous gives you twice the bonus speed to repair if you cleanse a Hex totem. Because gens, yeah, let's repair gens even quicker. And yeah, We're Gonna Live Forever no longer has the point bonus, kind of like Barbecue. So that's basically all you guys need to know, okay? So, Borrowed Time base kits. Borrowed Time is a perk, super strong. Dead Hard, very, very scary. Very scary. Noed getting nerfed. Now you can see the totem within 24 meters. So even if you don't have a map, you can still find it for free. So in a nutshell, I think the changes are pretty awful. It reflects how little the devs know the game and play the game and understand the game, and how much they don't play at high level. And it's probably going to be really bad for Killer. It's probably going to be quite painful for Killer in the long run. So yeah, that's my opinion so far.